Hello, today we're going to do a neurographic art piece which looks at how we engage with ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel the areas that we need to grow into. So it's about self-love, it's about loving ourselves and then giving ourselves a confidence and a basis to move forward. To do the things that we really want to do in life, which is very important. And sometimes we are our own worst enemies and we keep ourselves from going forward, stopping ourselves, putting barriers in front of ourselves. And this exercise is something that we think about when we're creating it, so that it will give us some calmness and reasonableness and free up our mind to be able to let us do the things that we truly want to do. So for this particular exercise, I picked out two marker colours. Mine are Copic markers, because I want to add some colour on top of them. So I've got a free piece of paper. This is a piece of Bristol board. It's not actually board, it's more like a really thick paper, but anything that you've got, any markers that you have, any paper that you've got will do this job perfectly. So we have a blue marker and a green marker. The green marker is going to represent growth, because green is a spring-like colour, isn't it? It represents growth in spring, and it's going to represent growth in us to start us off with. So the first thing we need to do, I think this side, this one's got a brush marker on one side, it does. Okay, so first of all, I need to give myself a base. So the base that I want to give myself is going to be the place that I feel safe. So I'm just testing out where I'd like to draw my line. I'm just going over the paper, not actually putting pen to paper yet until I feel comfortable about where my circle is, how big my circle is going to be. Just going round until I feel comfortable. I know where my circle is. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but as good as you can get it. So that's my safe space. This is a space I feel comfortable in, and I'm going to place my heart, the heart of me, within the space of this circle. So I'm trying to figure out where I would like my heart to be. It doesn't have to be in the centre, it could be to the side, it could be central but kind of off centre, but you just have to have a think, look at where your circle of comfort is, and I think my starter is there. So that represents me within my safe space, but my heart specifically, my heart and where my heart wants to go. So this is where we start to add in our neurographic lines. Now I will just separately on a piece of paper, if I can find one, go through neurographic lines. So let me just pop that to one side at the minute. So in traditional neurographic art, we don't want the line to be repeated in all its places. So it's a non-repeating line. So if you do something like this, that is a repeating line, yeah, because it's very similar to the eye. The eye likes to look at patterns, and so it gets a pattern from that. You could also say that this is a repeating line, creating loops. Again, it's kind of a pattern. With a neurographic line, what you want to do is you start at your point and you very carefully try and take the pen where it doesn't want to go. Now that sounds silly, and it isn't. Basically, you are trying to control the pen rather than your brain telling you what it feels comfortable with. Your brain feels comfortable with patterns, and so it will try and recreate those patterns. So you're trying to make it not recreate the patterns. So you have an irregular line, you don't have any similarities to the last piece you had. Basically, you're just drawing drawing the line and trying to make it go where you want it to go. You, the consciousness, rather than your brain who wants pattern and regularity. So that one, not a neurographic line, especially it doesn't follow the neurographic algorithm, so it isn't a neurographic line. This one also isn't, because it is repeating, and that makes your brain happy, but it doesn't change anything. These two would both count as a neurographic line because they are you controlling the pen, finding out where your brain wants the pen to go and going in the opposite direction. And that's how thought patterns change. So back to our original piece with our circle, with our dot in the middle of it to represent where our heart is. And now I'm going to draw my neurographic lines as I see fit. Always starting from my heart, always starting from the point in the middle. So I'm going out through that circle, drawing my lines in, starting from the heart, starting from the middle, thinking about what I would like to achieve, how I would like to grow, starting from the middle, building up those lines that are going out, from the centre, from my safe space. I'm venturing a little over my safe space, so I must feel at this moment in time quite confident in order to do that. Going out into the world where it's a little more scary, doing things I don't usually do. But I'm building myself a root system. This is what I'm doing. I'm rooting myself into the place where I feel comfortable, so that I can do the things that are a little less comforting, a little more scary. Going out into the world. You can do as many lines as you see fit. Anything that you want to draw in. Moving out into the world. So now what I'd like to do is to just pause and think for a minute on what we need to add in next. So here we are with our comfort zone, where we're planted in the middle of it, and we've drawn in our roots to centre us, to root us into the area of comfort, so that once we're feeling safe and balanced, we can then move out and do the things that we really want to do but have been too scared to try. You have to come from a safe space. If you want to feel comfortable moving forward, you have to have that safe space where you feel comfortable in order to move and to grow in whichever way you want to move and grow. It doesn't have to be things that you want to do. It could be ideas that you want to follow a different pathway, or just to grow in areas that you are already happy with, but to know more or to see more. So now we've got the basic happy space, comfortable growth. We're going to add in an element. An element is a very powerful element, not an elephant, it is an element called a spiral. And we're going to take it from the heart centre, and we're going to go in a clockwise manner and grow it out of our area of comfort. So it starts and it's building up and going out and out into the world. And that's our spiral. And the blue colour represents a spiral. And what we want to do now, again with this pen, my brush side, is to take our roots that we made in our safe space to extend them out into the world where everything's a little bit more scary. But because we have taken time to root ourselves, then we now have a powerful base to work from. Working out, considering all the while all the things that we'd like to do. Now that we're in our space of comfort, taking those out into the world, taking the lines out, working on the lines as we usually do. Trying to work against your brain becomes a little easier the more you do it. Sometimes it feels harder. Sometimes it feels harder to go against where your pen wants to go. And it depends on how we're feeling. Depends on how we're feeling at the time. Sometimes we just want something for a quiet life. We want to acquiesce to what our brain wants. It wants pattern, it wants regularity. And pattern and regularity are all great, but they're not very conducive for growth or experience. If you constantly go to the place where you've always been, then you never get to see anything new. You never get to try a new experience or to feel something different. And it's always like when you were younger and you hated one particular food, but you'd never tried it. You don't know why you didn't like it. You just didn't like the look of it, you didn't like the smell of it, and there was no way you were going to try it. You were going to stick with food that you liked, and you were never going to try that food. And someone would say, if you don't try it, how do you know that you don't like it? Which is probably one of the truest things that I've ever heard. So if you don't try something, you'll never know if you like it. And this is what this little exercise will help you. If you're concentrating on all the things that you'd like to be able to do, as you extend and strengthen those root lines that you've already built into this beautiful spiral of new things, new experiences, and new thoughts, then you will start to feel more comfortable within yourself. And if you do this exercise a few times, it gets to be more strong. If you start off and you don't feel very confident, then it's something that you can build on and do more of. Okay, so now we have our basic drawing, and what we have to then do, people who've already seen my previous videos on Neurographica will know that what we have to do is to round out those corners, all the angles and intersections, rounding them off. And that's what we're doing now. So I'm going to go around and round out all the intersections on my piece. And if you get down to the heart area and you've got some intersections down your basic roots, swap back to your other pen and round those out as well. So if you want to pause here so that you can continue to do that, I will continue with mine and we'll be back again in a while, and when we finish doing our rounding, to see what we need to do next. Okay, so I've rounded out my intersections and now we're on to the colouring part of our piece. And what we're going to do is to colour it in sections. Where you have little cells and things, I don't colour each cell separately. What you're intending to do is to unite a few of those cells together. So you have to colour over. So let me give you an example. I'm going to start with some greens because that's my centre. I've got 2 green pencils here. I'll start right in the middle. And you can see I'm not keeping within the lines of any particular area. I'm going over those lines. Going over the lines. And uniting all the cells, all those little areas that are in their particular part. I'll take another green pen, another green pencil, colouring in sections, taking it out. This is my heart area, and so it's going to be in shades of green and blue. And I'm not being precious about the lines at all, taking it out. And I'm going to continue with this. And also, as I get to the outer areas, I'm going to add in some of the other colours that I've got here. So I've got yellow, orange, pink, fuchsia, and lots of other different blues. And I'm not going to be afraid to leave a white space. If there are any white spaces, any areas that you feel need to be left alone, that's quite a good thing, because a white space is all the colours amalgamated together. A white light contains all the spectrum of all the colours. So I'm going to continue now, and I'll probably speed this up a little bit so you can do this in your own time. And so I'm back after having a little delve into this piece with my coloured pencils. I have also put in some field lines. Now these are to help concentrate all this beautiful, wonderful, positive energy into the piece and give it some strength. And that I did with this Pentel ink pen. It is the purple one, and I think this kind of balances it out really nicely. So you can also do that, and the way you do that is you find a line that you think is kind of strong, or you feel that it's a strong line, and you just emphasize it. But you can also go off track of the line and join it into other lines if you want to. It is a line of its own, and you make it a nice, strong, thick line to denote the fact that it is a field line. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're going to have a go and make your own self-love strengthening neurographic piece. As I say, this is on a Bristol board, which is kind of a thick card, but you can do this on anything you like. Just make sure to give yourself a piece that's going to give you room to expand if you need to. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for coming along, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.